Look, we get it. A lot of us have been there when you're scrolling through Instagram and see this fit girl with a 24-inch waist, toned abs, and amazing legs, or that guy with popping pecs, amazing biceps, and abs carved out of stone. We know you get up from bed, look at yourself in the mirror, stare at yourself, and wonder what it would be like to also have the perfect body. We repeat, we've been there too. In today's video, we're going to be talking about fasting, one of the weight loss methods that has taken the world by storm over the past few years, and 8 variations on how you can use fasting to help you get lean and toned, as well as some additional nuggets on how to make these fasting techniques work for you optimally. Let's start by giving you a quick rundown on fasting. Essentially, fasting is a specific period of time when you're not eating or drinking anything. This has been the hallmark of certain religions and cultures for centuries, and our early ancestors have been doing this for a millennia. In fact, you might be even doing it already. We've got our eyes on you, dear college students. We know some of you unintentionally eat 1 or 2 meals a day because of your hectic schedules. So why do people do fasting? As much as fasting has impressive health benefits like regulating blood sugar, boosting brain function, and having cancer prevention properties, fasting is mainly used in these modern times as a way to lose weight. There are hundreds of ways that you could go about this, but here are 8 fasting variations that you can do to amp up and kickstart your weight loss journey. Number 1. Water fasting. The first one is a classic. There really isn't much to it, as its name already explains a lot, but basically, water fasting is where you go 24 to 72 hours without any solid food at all, just good old water. Now, if you want to spice things up for a bit, or if you're someone who thinks that plain water is too meh for your taste, infusing your water with herbs and fruits is a great idea. You can squeeze and cut up some lemons and oranges for a tangy twist, drop a few mint leaves and chopped up strawberries to make it sweet, minty, and trace fancy, or you can add a few slices of cucumbers to amp up the refreshing qualities of water. You really can't go wrong here because it all boils down to your preferences. Number 2. Dry fasting. This second variation may sound new to a lot of you, but basically, dry fasting is the opposite of water fasting. With dry fasting, you are permitted to eat food, but you're prohibited to drink water. Now, we know this sounds crazy, because didn't they tell us that you can survive for months without food, but you wouldn't last days without water? Don't worry, we can all relax, because this dry fasting technique is only limited to a certain amount of time of less than 24 hours. For some people, this fasting variation can be quite tricky, especially if they are someone who typically drinks a lot of water. Prepping for your dry fasting day may be much easier if you hydrate yourself well the day before. On the other hand, some people find dry fasting to be a breeze. The reason behind this is that when your body's fat reserves are broken down during metabolism, it releases water into your system. Think of grizzly bears during hibernation. They typically do not eat for 4 to 7 months and don't get dehydrated because aside from their general lack of physical activity, their bodies undergo this process of metabolism that allows their body to properly function and survive. Remember though, we aren't bears. Exceeding the 24-hour mark is prohibited because prolonged deprivation of water may lead to serious health complications such as fatigue, organ failure, and ultimately death. In some cases, dry fasting may be particularly useful for people who experience polyuria or excessive urination and diarrhea when they do a regular fast without the consumption of food. This is because insulin has the capacity to retain water in our bodies, and when insulin gets excreted, water follows. This is not the most appealing experience, so if you're someone who experiences this, doing dry fasting for a bit of time may be a good fasting option for you. Number 3. A tea fast. This one is a no-brainer. Tea fasting is when you're allowed to drink herbal teas along with water or flavored water during your 24-hour to 72-hour fasting period. Of course, without any additional creamers, milk, or sugar. What's great about tea fasting is that since tea doesn't contain any calories, your blood glucose levels won't spike up if you drink it. If you watched our videos on intermittent fasting, you'll know that when your body has no external resource for glucose and your body's glucose reserves have all been used up, your body will tap into another source of energy for it to function normally, fat, which is normally the reason why tea fasting is good for weight loss. In fact, studies have shown that catechins, the plant compounds abundant in tea, may be good for people who aim to lose weight because of its anti-obesity and anti-diabetic properties in that it helps promote metabolism and fat oxidation. Aside from its weight loss benefits, tea fasting is also good for your health because tea is chock full of antioxidants. Numerous studies have suggested that it supplements good cardiovascular health, hepatic health, and even the prevention of different types of cancers. An added bonus, it provides you the right boost of caffeine that you may or may not crave during the middle of the day. Number 4. Coffee fasting. Attention all coffee fanatics, it's a fantastic day to be alive because you guessed it, you can choose to drink coffee during your fast. But just a quick disclaimer, you can only drink plain black coffee. This is because plain black coffee, just like tea, has 0 calories, and this is what we aim for during a fasting period. This is great if you're someone who can only function with coffee running through your system, and to be honest, we don't blame you. You can enjoy a cup of joe, hot or iced, especially on a warm sunny day. This kind of fast should only be limited to 24 to 72 hours, just like tea and water fasting. What's great about drinking coffee is that aside from keeping you on your toes thanks to caffeine, coffee is rich in antioxidants and it also aids in reducing cardiovascular diseases, some neurodegenerative diseases, and even different types of cancers. Fair warning though, don't go nuts on coffee by only drinking this the whole day. Always remember to also hydrate yourself with plenty of water. You don't want palpitations and shaking hands, do you? Number 5. Bone broth. In a nutshell, this type of fasting lets you consume bone broth instead of food. As bone broth contains a bit of fats, proteins, and other nutrients, this kind of fasting is arguably better at providing you energy and hydration that makes this more appealing to some people as compared to the classic water fasting or tea fasting. Since bone broth contains different kinds of nutrients, it may contain a few calories. However, it comes in a very small amount, so this type of fast will still help you lose weight by satiating your hunger and putting you in a caloric deficit. To get optimal effect, make your own broth at home. You can use bone broth, but if you're on a plant-based diet or if you just want to reduce your animal intake, you could also sub it for vegetable broth. Do not, however, use pre-processed broth like canned broth because this usually has a truckload of additives and preservatives in it. Aside from shedding a few extra pounds, bone broth fasting can be helpful if you're someone who has stomach problems like irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, or if you just come from having the flu. This type of fast is usually done at a maximum of 72 hours. Number 6. Fat fasting. Yes, we know fat fasting sounds counterintuitive, but let us explain. Fat fasting is a meal plan that involves increasing your fat intake while eating a very low amount of carbohydrates. This fast is done for a short period of time at around 3 to 5 days. It's basically an accelerated version of a keto diet, and they are both pretty similar in such that they both aim to up your fat intake to encourage your body to undergo ketosis. Ketosis is when your body uses fat as an energy source when no blood glucose is present. Blood glucose comes from carbohydrates, and with fat fasting, since you're only eating fats, this puts your body into a forced state of ketosis, which then fires up weight loss. Since you're mainly eating fats, this is great in keeping energy levels constant, and it also makes you feel fuller for longer. Foods you can eat while doing fat fasting include avocados, nuts, eggs, non-starchy vegetables cooked in oil, as well as bulletproof coffee. Number 7. 5-2 fasting. If you've been doing intermittent fasting for a while now, or if you've done your own research on intermittent fasting, you've probably heard of this method. To put it simply, the 5-2 method is when you eat regularly for 5 days and then during the next 2 days, you restrict yourself to eating 500 calories per day. For example, if you choose to eat regularly on weekdays, then your 500 calorie meal days will be on Saturdays and Sundays. And finally, number 8, the fiber fast. This type of fast will only permit you to eat a fiber-rich diet with foods like chia seeds. A great way to consume chia seeds is by making chia pudding, just by mixing a tablespoon or 2 of chia seeds with a cup of milk, let it sit overnight or at least 2 hours, then you're good to go. Other fiber-rich foods also include carrots, Brussels sprouts, cauliflowers, strawberries, apples, bananas, brown rice, quinoa, and oatmeal. There's a plethora of yummy and filling fiber-rich foods out there, so make sure to use them to your advantage. What's great about fiber fasting is that it lets you eat a variety of nutritious foods, which is definitely a more holistic approach in achieving your weight loss goals. Aside from that, a fiber-rich diet also has tons of health benefits like improving gut health, it helps regulate blood sugar levels, and it also lowers cholesterol levels. However, we would like to reiterate that fasting, no matter what type, is not for everybody because it comes with health risks. Any of these fasting methods are not for you if you have existing comorbidities, if you have an eating disorder, if you're under the age of 18, or if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. It is also important to note that too much of something is not a good thing. Restricting calorie or water intake for extensively long periods of time may definitely make you feel different side effects like dizziness and lethargy. This is because your body may be adapting to such a huge shift. If this ever happens to you or you experience more severe symptoms, immediately notify a licensed healthcare professional to help you out. or better yet, consult a medical practitioner first if you plan on doing any of these fasts. This brings us to the end of the video. Fasting definitely is a surefire way to get your desired results in a snap, and what's great about it is that since there are a lot of different kinds of fasting methods, you can definitely find one that suits you that you can tweak according to your lifestyle and preferences. But if you're only going to take one thing away from this video, let it be this. Approach weight loss with the mindset that you want to lose weight because you love your body and you want to take care of it, not because you hate yourself for not looking a certain way. If you enjoyed today's video, show us some love by hitting that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our latest videos. Until next time.